Because I have the deepest respect for Ishiro Honda, not for also just inspiring me. He's been one of my all-time favorite inspirations. He's one of my all-time favorite directors. So I want this to be somewhat of a nod to him, somewhat of a bow to him, saying thank you. And I would love this to be a movie that Ishiro Honda would have made, that Ishiro Honda would have liked, and that's what I want to try to do with this. And so anyways, they lose track of Godzilla, or they're tracking Godzilla. He's moving east. He's swimming down the Indian, through the Pacific, and he's in the Atlantic. They don't know where he's going to land. And so Titanosaurus becomes alive. And they keep him sedated, or they keep him sort of in like a trance, because of the thing in his brain that now controls everything in Titanosaurus. And they test Titanosaurus out on a falling apart city, and it works beautifully. Godzilla lands in England. Okay? Godzilla lands in England, and the English are freaking out, saying, oh my god, bring Titanosaurus here to fight Godzilla because we are defenseless. We are basically defenseless against Godzilla. And so that's what they do. They bring Titanosaurus to England, and they start using the mind control device. What winds up happening is that the fight is pretty awesome. Titanosaurus is actually beating Godzilla up pretty good. I mean, the fight is... I want the fight to be pretty intense, like how Titanosaurus' tail can suddenly turn into like a wind power machine. And that's what's that's what is mostly used against Godzilla, and it's affecting Godzilla. But then suddenly they push the voltage in Titanosaurus' brain like too far, and it short circuits, and therefore Titanosaurus is sort of left just sort of like standing there, and Godzilla gets up and he's wondering what's going on. It's like he's circling Titanosaurus. And then all of a sudden Godzilla just rams into Titanosaurus, waking Titanosaurus up into its normal self. And Titanosaurus just starts unloading into Godzilla, and it's this epic fight. They start moving southward, and eventually they get into London. They destroy London. Like, I really want them both to just sort of like grab each other and like jump into Big Ben. Oh, it's going to be so awesome. Like, I'm just going to be like, bah, let's blow up London. And then they continue to fight over into the White Hills of Dover, and then they jump into the Channel and wind up in France. And when they wind up in France, they keep on fighting. It's pretty awesome. They just keep on fighting. And then Godzilla winds up killing Titanosaurus. Ways I do not know yet. I think he's going to use his atomic breath, and he just blows a hole like right through Titanosaurus, killing him. And then Godzilla, still enraged by this, well, the final fight happens in Paris, and then when Godzilla kills Titanosaurus and Titanosaurus' body lays dead in the middle of Paris, Godzilla turns around and walks away. And everyone's just watching Godzilla like, what the hell? Shouldn't he be killing us? And I want there to be this scene where they make eye contact with it. And Godzilla makes eye contact back. And you can see in Godzilla's eyes how much he wants to kill the humans. How much he wants to harm the humans. I'm going to turn on some light here. But then he just sees... What was I saying? Oh yeah, they make eye contact. Godzilla makes eye contact with a few humans, and you can tell that he just wants to kill those humans. But Godzilla turns around, swallowing up his hatred, and walks away. And that's the end credits will roll over Godzilla walking into the sea. And then comes the last film of the series, which in my opinion is going to be not... It's going to be awesome. I'm not going to say, but it's going to be the best one out of the three that I want to work on. after G and KK. But here's the premise of it. The movie is called Attack Godzilla. And the reason for that is what winds up happening is Godzilla shows up in Hokkaido. And like, I've saved Japan for the last movie. And the world starts uniting and building this gigantic robot that they're going to be calling Mechagodzilla as the ultimate weapon. And they're still sort of reminiscing about the fact that Titanosaurus was an epic fail. Well, they think that they've perfected the idea, and what they do is they inject G-cells into a turtle. And inject the mind control device in the turtle. Therefore, it makes Gamera. That's the premise of the movie. Gamera versus Godzilla. If that's not awesome, then I don't know what is. If I can make this movie, it is going to be amazing. It is going to make lots of money, which don't think that that's my only deal with making movies, is making lots of money. It's not. It is going to be awesome. Going to be completely awesome. The entire premise of Godzilla fighting Gamera is awesome, and if I can get the copyright for Godzilla, and, well, if I can get Daiei Company and Toho to at least work together to make this epic film, it would be awesome. And I think the way I would be able to do it is because I know immediately that because these are the two most famous creatures to come from Japan, for kaiju anyways, just them putting them into one movie and having them duke it out will make tons of money in the box office. Now, again, I just don't want to make these movies because, one, it's going to make a lot of money out of it, but, you know, that money is definitely going to be a factor in getting those two monsters together. Anyways, let's stop talking about the financial situation for the film. So what winds up happening is, excuse me, what winds up happening is that the story centers around Mechagodzilla for actually more of the film than it focuses on Gamera. And Godzilla has gone into Hokkaido and is destroying everything, has destroyed a nuclear power plant, which is sending Japan into a crisis, an energy crisis. And so they start forming that UN thing again. They start having meetings in Tokyo saying, okay, this is what we got to do in order to stop Godzilla. And the Japanese had built these plans for a Mechagodzilla that they were going to build. And so they laid the design out, and it's unanimous throughout the UN that it is important that we build this in order to stop Godzilla, for it is the best possible thing, the best and biggest weapon we could use against Godzilla that might actually work. And so they start putting it in production. Actually, I think what's going to happen is they start building it in the film previously where Godzilla fights Titanosaurus, but in this one they finish it. And therefore Mechagodzilla is ready to blow shit up and kill Godzilla. While this is happening, the scientists that created the mind control the mind control thing that they stuck in Titanosaurus' head, realized that when they stuck it into Titanosaurus' head, it was an epic fail. And so they learn from that, and they add stuff to it, and they think they haven't perfected it, but they have improved it. And so, once more, just on the fact that it might work to kill Godzilla once and for all, they use it. And this time they inject it into a turtle, as well as put the G cells into a turtle, therefore forming Gamera. And this takes a while. It doesn't just happen right off. Gamera grows as it happens, and they call it Gamera because when it finally is used, some of the locals call it Gamera because of their local legends and stuff like that, even though it doesn't have to do with the local legend, but that's what they call it, so the name sticks. with the Japanese government and all of that jazz. And anyways, so Mechagodzilla is used for the first time, and actually does pretty well, but then all of a sudden his battery goes haywire. And so Mechagodzilla basically just sort of dies, and Godzilla is able to smash him up and continue on his merry way. So the military fixes Mechagodzilla up, adds some new weapons to him, adds a longer battery life to him, adds solar panels to him so he can be unlimited in battery through the day. And therefore Mechagodzilla is good to go. Now Gamera fights Godzilla, I believe I would make it 2 times in the film. One, he fails. Gamera fails, and I think it would be somewhere around the Osaka area. And Godzilla has just gotten tons of energy. And the reason why Gamera fails is because Godzilla has gotten all this energy. And Godzilla is just going right down Japan, getting all these nuclear reactors, getting all that much energy into him, therefore keeping him stronger, keeping him more energized. And that's what happens. And so when they duke it out, the battle's probably going to last for 5 to 10 minutes, and Gamera gets his ass whooped. And because of the G-cells, they discover that Gamera can fly. Oh shit. I'm actually debating that. I mean, I know it's a Gamera trademark that he flies, but come on. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess I'm kind of a Gamera fan, but I'm more of a Godzilla fan, you see, that's just the deal. So I'm really debating. I would actually like to know your opinion. Do you think Gamera should fly in this film? Because if he can fly, he's going to fly away, and therefore the military is going to sort of repair him, or he's just going to basically die there, and the military revives him. So anyways, I want to know your opinions for that. So anyways, back to the storyline. Godzilla arrives in Tokyo and is starting to blow shit up. And the military launches Mechagodzilla again, this time new and improved, that they're going to be calling Kiru. And so Mechagodzilla lands, and then they have Gamera come alongside of it. And I'm going to shoot it almost like Ishiro Honda and Sumitsu Nakano, I think that's how you say his name. I know his last name's Nakano, did in Terror of Mechagodzilla, which in my opinion is one of the most epic Godzilla films ever made. And there's going to be a lot of explosions. Like, this film, because of Mechagodzilla and Godzilla and Gamera, they all have these superpowers. It's going to be nuts. There's going to be explosions going off everywhere. Like, I want this one scene where I actually kind of want Mechagodzilla to sort of be standing in the back. And a lot of the physical fighting is between Godzilla and Gamera. And I want the film to be bloody as hell when it comes to that fight. I want this one scene where Gamera bites into Godzilla's shoulder, and you know, because of those huge tusks, it just goes right through his skin, and then Godzilla breathes his atomic breath into one of the holes in his shoulder and Gamera's shoulders, therefore causing blood to go everywhere. It's going to be an all-around bloody battle. And another scene I want in it is where Mechagodzilla is just unloading into Godzilla, and there's flames everywhere, there's explosions going off, Godzilla's getting hit with rockets and laser beams and all of that shit. And Gamera's just sort of standing there, and I want Godzilla to be running straight for Mechagodzilla, and he just pushes Gamera out of the way, and Gamera falls into a building, crumbling it down, and Godzilla just unleashes all of his strength into Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla falls over, and it's going to be a huge, epic fight that, honestly, I think that movie is going to take up 1/3 of the movie. Like, I want this battle to be long and drawn out, and